Are police in Ghana targeting African Americans? Well, that's what I'm here to find out. All right. My name is No Limit Eddie. I'm a 23-year-old American who has been living abroad, in particular in Africa, for the last 2 years. On my channel, I talk about travel, business, and overall just how to be a positive person. If that sounds interesting to you, hit that subscribe button. I want 25,000 subscribers ASAP. All right. So smash the subscribe button. I greatly appreciate it. Now, I was looking for videos to react to, and I found two of them, and they were both about police in Ghana. And so I decided to pull one of them up and react to it with you guys. So let's get into it. Okay, so the video that I'm reacting to is from a channel called Just Vlogs. She seems to be an American who's now living over in Ghana, and she has only like 3K subscribers. And so the reason why I wanted to react to her video and not Expat Life Ghana is just so that hopefully if you guys have never heard of her before, you guys can go over there and check her channel out. I'll leave the link to her video in the description of today's video. You know what I mean? Again, when I was coming up on YouTube, people didn't really show that much respect or that much love to 150 Great. So when I have the chance to do it, I want to do it for other people. So let's go ahead and watch her video.
Sure, have to get one. Okay, so let's get into this post. So the person writes, in the meantime, as some of you know, there is a rise in unpleasant encounters between Ghanaian police officers and expatriates.
Okay, cool. So apparently, like, this is all over the place. I guess it's on Facebook, I guess it's on YouTube, and like the diaspora and the police in Ghana. So let's just see what it's about, man. I have no idea. I personally have never been to West Africa. I've only been to East Africa, and right now I'm in North, but I haven't gone to West as of yet.
Please take caution and have a recording device on you at all times. And if you're driving, have a webcam that is flexible so all angles can be viewed if you're stopped by the police. It goes on to say, there are active organizations here that are developing a safety system plan for those living here that will allow an emergency contact in case you are being mistreated by officers.
Okay, hold on. I want to pause it right here. This is pretty interesting. So they're saying there's been a rise in encounters in which that are unpleasant between African Americans and the police and the Ghanaian police, which is pretty interesting to the point where they're saying, yo, have a camera on you and record these interactions. So I'm curious about what kind of interactions people are having and why these interactions are occurring. I know from my experience, when I was living in Tanzania and when I'm in Egypt, the police are super chill, like super chill. Now, the police force is different. It's a lot more militarized. Like, they would just walk around with AK-47s on them. They'll walk around just like 20, 30 deep inside of the back of a truck. And so it's a lot more like, whoa, like, what's going on? But in reality, they're super chill. Like, they're just smoking their cigarettes, you know, they're drinking their tea, drinking their coffee. Up here in Egypt, down in Tanzania, they would just be minding their business. Maybe they're eating a papaya. They would just live their life. And so I found that my anxiety around police, even though they're far more militarized here, is basically zero versus my experience in America, where it was a lot more civilized. You know, they had their guns concealed, or it was a lot more relaxed. I was a lot more fearful in America as far as police officers than I am here on the continent. And so I'm curious of what their interaction has been in Ghana.
I myself have experienced being taken to the police station and urged to give money, which I refused to do. Be careful out there. So I can remember us having like a little incident where we were driving a loaner, and on the loaner car, the windshield was cracked. So the officer was kind of like addressing that issue, but it wasn't even like crazy. It was just, he was making us aware of, listen, you shouldn't be riding around Ghana with your windshield cracked like that. But when we explained the situation to him and informed him that this is a car that is, you know, just being loaned to us for the moment, he was a lot more understanding. And ultimately, we just, you know, I showed him my license, and that was that. We went on our merry little way. So I do know that it can be an issue sometimes with these officers. They want a few CDs out of you. That does happen probably more often than not. I mean, it is kind of like, you know, how are you out here taking bribes? But it is what it is, and that's just what goes on here. So I feel like if you're coming here and you're going to be driving, you have to be prepared that if you are stopped by an officer, you might very well have to, you know, come up off a few CDs. You know, that's just the reality of being here in Ghana. Is it right?
All right. So uh, the bribery thing, that was real. You know, I was in the back of Bajaji's, you know, in the back of Ubers, and the police would try to do some type of bribery techniques. That did happen in Tanzania for me. I actually own a motorcycle here in Egypt, and I just slide around the city. I've been stopped by the police maybe 3 or 4 times. Each time, once they kind of see, oh, you're from the States, go on about your business. You know, I've never had too many crazy issues to where I was like police station, bribery, nothing like that. You know, and again, maybe I'm just someone who has been, you know, favored to where that doesn't happen. No bribery has happened to me in my. I've been here for like a year and some change, and no bribery has occurred. But well, at least from the police officers and me, right? I'm not saying it doesn't occur in Egypt, probably does, but I haven't experienced it as far as my interaction with police officers or the government whatsoever. But I do know in Tanzania, I never had to bribe anyone in Tanzania either, to be honest. When it came to the police, because I wasn't ever driving, right? So I haven't dealt with this as a driver in TZ, but I did deal with this as a passenger, and I can either give you a ticket for 20,000, or you can pay me 5,000, and you know there was some little stuff like that that did occur, but it happens. You know what I mean? It does happen. Is it right? No, it doesn't make it right, but it does happen.
No, but is life perfect? I just want to know. So if you are stopped by a police officer, you want to make sure that you are being compliant. Keep a low tone. Be respectful. Smile, because it goes a long way. You know, even if the police officer isn't having the best of the day because he's been out in the hot heat and he's sweating and he probably ain't had a drink of water, it just helps when he sees a smiling face, because even if he's had a bad day, it is going to make things a lot more easier when you are just being pleasant compared to being here in the States that you're never going to have to get pulled over and worry about getting shot. You're also not going to have to fear, you know, them just going out of their way.
Another thing, like I'll say this, as far as fear for your life, it doesn't. I haven't experienced it existing. The most thing is just like getting extorted is what I've noticed. But on top of that, when it comes to the extortion, I always don't want to partake in it, because if you partake in it, I feel like it encourages it to continue. So they're like, oh yeah, he'll give some money. You know what I mean? And I almost feel like you got to stop certain things where they start to begin. And so if you let them get money out of you, and then one day you say, "No, I'm not letting them get money out of you," then they know, okay, just get them to that breaking point, and then eventually he'll pay. So maybe to get you to that breaking point, and say, all right, well, get out the car at this time. Okay, let's go down to the police house this time. Okay, let's put you in a cell this time. Okay, let's do this or that this time, right? Let's take your car from you this time. So they know that it's got to get you a breaking point, and then you'll give in. And so that's kind of why I'm not the biggest fan of even giving bribes to begin with. But again, everybody has their own methodology of living and associating. You know what I mean? Give me the ticket. I don't care if it's 10 times as much. Give me the ticket. You know what I mean? I'd rather deal with it that way than to, you know, play the games the other way. But I don't know, you know.
To like really make matters worse for you. Like they really are just doing their job. And sometimes they just want a little compensation for doing their job. It is an experience that you have to be prepared for. From my personal encounters, anytime that I've ever gotten pulled over by an officer, which happens quite often, it's no big deal. Like I smile, I greet them, how are you? Maybe even try to speak a little fancy with them to lighten the mood. And then I show them my license and I go about my business. The moment that you try to come at them and be disrespectful or have an attitude, it's gonna go left. So you just always want to keep a pleasant smile. You want to greet them and just make sure that you're just keeping a low tone.
Right. And so, I mean, pretty much like she's saying, you know what I mean? I don't know exactly the reaction people are doing when they're getting put over that's causing them to really like record them and all that type of stuff. I don't know. You know what I mean? I've noticed that most officers have been chill. You know, like she's saying, I would just pretty much always be pretty calm with them. Like, yo, what's the deal? Like, you know what I mean? I'm not sure what exactly is going on, but that's just anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, it's no point of trying to get outrageous. You know, the book of Proverbs says a soft answer turns away wrath. And so you should always be, you know, just polite to people, regardless if they're a police officer or not. You know what I mean? Just always speaking in a kind tone. You know what I mean? Because your mouth, you know, life and death is in the tongue. So to speak nicely to people, and more likely that'll put you a lot farther ahead. When there's too much ego, when there's pride on both sides, that's when things get wild. You know what I mean? And so, yeah. But what you're saying kind of makes sense.
Give them whatever it is that they're asking for when it comes to your identification. If they're asking any questions, answer their questions in a nice manner. Not rude, but just in a nice way. Answer their questions, and you're gonna have a good experience. And I know a lot of times here at Cape Coast, like even when they realize that you're not from here, or they see your license and realize that it's from another country, they kind of are more lenient when it comes to that than the citizens. The expectancy of citizens here is a lot higher than foreigners. So if they see you're a foreigner, they take that into consideration, that you may not know every part of their law, which, 9 times out of 10 you don't. If you're not a lawyer, or law is not your field, you may not know, and they take that into consideration. So officers here overall are very pleasant.
All right, so check this out. I like this video from Melody. Her name is Jess Vlog, but our YouTube channel is Jess Vlog. I'll leave a link in the description. But yeah, so when it comes to dealing with police over in these foreign countries, man, it really just is about, being respectful, being kind, being calm, being relaxed. And, like sometimes they will ask for bribes, you know what I mean? And again, it depends on how you want to operate. Me personally, if I'm doing something illegal, let's say, which I don't do anything illegal, but if I'm doing something illegal, okay, you pay the bribe. Okay, I want to drive, but I want to do this here, I want to do this here. Okay, you pay the bribe. Boom. They know you're not supposed to do that. You know you're not supposed to do it. You pay the bribe. Now, other than that, if you're in the right, you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to go ba 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 boom 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 and argue back and forth, argue back and forth. Take the fine, whatever it is, pay it. Who cares? If you don't want to pay it, then go about it another process. The officer is not the judge. You know what I mean? The officer is not the judge. So just go about it in a different way, different manner. You know what I mean? Again, that's what I would say. It's very important not to try to bring American ideology over to the next one country. Expect things to work like America because you left America for a reason. You can't live in Africa for a reason. And so you have to take the good with the bad, right? We don't want things to be so systematized and so by the books and so, justice, because we see that America is such a just place, but it's so unjust at the same time. And so when we come to these other countries, I try to just understand that some things are going to be different, some things are going to be the same, and try to live within that balance, right? Okay, so with that being said, Jeff, that was a really amazing video. I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? And you gave some really good advice and everything like that. I would say as well, look, I moved to Africa at 21 or 23 now. You want to know, how did I make this play? How did I, pick the country? How did I get the visas and ATMs, and what about money? And you want to know all these different things about relocating to the continent. I have something called the Ultimate African Relocation Guide, and it is linked in my description. Pick up a copy of that if you're really curious about moving to the continent. It'll help you determine if moving to Africa is right for you. And if it is, it'll definitely help you make the play the right way and not make the foolish mistakes that most beginners make. Because let's be honest, most people don't know anyone who's ever moved to Africa. Most people don't have any friends or any family that are on the continent. And so we move blind a lot of times. But it'll be advisable for you to learn from me, right, who has over 2 years of experience. But also, because I'm a YouTuber, I connect with so many different people from so many different countries that I'm able to give you guys advice from places and countries and different people that I've associated with and talked to. So collectively, there's so many years of experience put inside the book and put inside the videos that you get along with the book and the bonuses that you get on top of that. So click the link in the description, pick up the Ultimate African Relocation Guide. If you're curious about how to make the play financially, how to make money, right now I have a program, a training program that I'm offering for 3 people. I'm going to personally coach you for 6 to 8 weeks. I'm going to help you turn your thoughts or your experience or your expertise into a profitable online business that you can run and operate from anywhere in the world as long as you have a phone and internet connection. If that sounds interesting to you, then click on our button in the description, our link in the description as well, and apply for the Thoughts into Thousands Accelerator. All right. But with that being said, see you guys in the next one. Yah willing. Shalom.